federal government operations, and they are not. We were assured, and we asked this question over and over and over again. They are not federal government operations to sniff radiation, gas, recovery, anything else. Number two, they remain committed to their message that there is zero evidence of laws being broken by any of these drones. And the context here was the fact that when Josh and I live probably equidistant from Midtown Manhattan, the New York metropolitan area is some of the most crowded airspace in the world, with Newark, Teterboro, White Plains, LaGuardia, Newark, JFK. There is a lot of commercial aircraft in the air, general aviation aircraft in the air. There are 800,000 registered drones in this country, and then millions and millions and many unregistered drones, because if you have a drone that weighs less than about half a pound, that need not be registered. These sightings.
Welcome to the new party. I'm Nora Christine.
I'm Gray Mars.
Vulgar Locker Room.
Jay Ham.
Today on the new party, we're going to be discussing what are those drones in the sky over the northeast of America. So this has to be the most silent I've heard the Biden administration yet. They can't say who the drones belong to, but today they had a secret meeting where senators came out, and I've heard different versions. I've heard there are drones. I've heard they're China's. Gray, as the Democrat on the call, whose drones are they?
I don't necessarily have the answer to that. I actually do wish Joe Biden would come out, or even Kamala Harris, and make some kind of statement, because once something happens, conspiracy theorists, and especially MAGA, they run with whatever's going on. Nora's been saying the wildest things. My neighbor's been saying the wildest things, but I don't know. Jay Herm, what do you think? What do you think it is?
I think Biden has the same thing. It's like the same thing with the Chinese surveillance balloons. I just feel like no matter what he does, if he doesn't say anything, it's a conspiracy theory. If he does say something, he's lying. He just kind of doesn't feed the fire. Honestly, I generally think because they have to come from the United States, because the distance they would travel would be from there. So they have, especially some of the larger ones I was reading too, need to be refueled like pretty often. So they have to be domestic. So I mean, there's two logical things. Not like, I didn't call me old school in like a day of conspiracy theories, but the simplest explanation I think is, one, you have a private company just testing out mass drones, and there's a lot of companies that could be doing that, especially in the United States. Or two, they're lying, and it is military. Like even Donald Trump himself said the United States military knows where they're coming from. Out mass drone use over a densely populated area. And then I was reading too that some of them, people were trying to fly their own drones and they weren't working at the same time that those drones were functioning. So it could be testing some sort of EMP drones that can fly if EMP has been let off. It is some kind of mass test. And then I wouldn't, automatically blame the government, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was some sort of mass government testing, because the government tests things on the American people all the time. They tested A-bombs in New Mexico. They tested syphilis on Black people. They tested aerosol gas on San Francisco. So the government is no stranger to testing things on its own people.
Vulgar.
And that would just make the most sense.
I've been watching I had a couple videos pop up on my feed that were saying there's no reason for drones to fly at night, besides if they're looking for something. And it wouldn't be visual. It would be like on the infrared spectrum, or maybe some type of radiation detector. And then I heard something about there was some type of radiation, whatever material that was lost, and they're trying to look for it. They're just not telling the American public. And then I just heard that there's been some drone sighted in Ohio right now.
Yep.
So that's, to me, that's the most viable thing, is that something happened and the government's not want to come right out for whatever reason, and these drones are searching for something. But I do believe they're American drones. And if they drones that didn't work, like civilian, most of the drones that are registered they have geo walls built into them, so that the government can tell them not to fly in certain areas. Like if you try to fly over a game or something like that, your drone will not fly over, because if it's registered, then the government can stop it. You would have to hack the geo wall to get your drone to actually fly.
Yeah, and I have clips that go into Vogler's theory. I don't Are you guys familiar with Bethany Frankel?
No.
No.
Okay, so Bethany Frankel is a former Real Housewife of New York, but she's very, very connected. She actually was predicted to be the next Oprah, so she has a lot of rich friends. I'm going to play this clip of what she's saying she heard from someone rich and powerful. Do I believe it's true? No, but I'll play her, and then I'll play someone substantial after her, after we comment.
But why should today be any different than any other day? I know this guy whose father worked with the Pentagon and NASA and like secret projects, and he has been messaging me that he will never forgive himself if he doesn't tell the people that he knows that for a month he's been watching this situation. And now, several days ago, before it became a discussion in the mainstream media, that these drones are ours and that they could very possibly be sniffing out something very dangerous, some missing dangerous W from the war, and that areas that coincide with where the drones have been seen have spiked in radiation. So he said it's time to think about where I am and that I might want to go somewhere with my daughter. So like for me, you know, we blow things off and we think nothing's going to happen, but things do happen. I remember sitting in my car with my driver who said to me months before I even knew what the words global pandemic meant, I think there's going to be a global pandemic. I'm like, what are you talking about? I mean, if he had bet the markets, he would have been a billionaire. So I'm just listening to this guy and watching. And now Trump, who's hanging out with a lot of billionaires who have a lot of money for research, is also finding out that these are ours. And what were the government's choices? A, tell us that that's what they're doing and widespread panic and pandemonium, or B, do what they're doing. But something is wrong because otherwise they would eliminate them, and everyone's being very cagey. So what do you think? This guy has also been talking to...
So I always bring things with facts, right? Like the only reason why I think this is plausible is, and again, most people do get their news on X, right? So I saw this map on X, and this was quite scary. They're saying that the radiation levels allegedly are up in the areas that you guys see here. As you can see, there's the map and it's elevated. They're claiming it's elevated in New Jersey and in New York. It goes to what Jay's saying, that they are searching for something. Jay, what's your thoughts after watching this extremely rich Caucasian woman who claims she has these connections say what she said?
Well, first I want to say I hate when my driver has an opinion, so she's better than me. But it does make it just, I want to see like the radiation results for the entire, because that just seems so, it's so easy to keyhole something, you know, and just say, oh, radiation, and then what does that even mean? Radiation rises with heat too. So what is that like? Is it to a dangerous level?
Right
is
now.
it to? But what I'm saying is, you know, it could be just hotter in different places. Like, what I'm saying is, like, radiation spiking is such a vague term. Like, X-ray techs are exposed to radiation every day. Is it a dangerous amount? No. Like, I would like to see like what the increase is and what is it. You know, is it a dangerous amount? Is it significantly increased? But the fact that they would be searching for something, now that you mention it, does actually say a lot.
And that's the world.
You know, and why use so many? Unless if it's such a large, what I'm saying is, if it's such a large radiation trace, this is a better way to say it. Why do they need so many to find it?
True.
You know, New Jersey, respectively, is not that big. It is densely populated, yes.
Maybe it's like radio. How they use radio towers? They'll use hundreds of them to focus in,
like pinging off. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that, but what I'm saying is,
Booker.
like, that's what doesn't make sense to me. Why do they need so many? That's why the testing thing just makes
cover
no
a bigger
sense. Because
area.
It's all different types of drones. You know, there's huge ones.
Well,
Predator drones.
This
They're
is where
small
I go
ones.
into the other thing that I think they're private drones now because people are sending them up because they're trying to figure out what's going on. And this is why I'm mad at the government because you're creating chaos. Because by not giving some sort of narrative, now we're all guessing, and you have these people doing their private drones and they're blasting them up.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. That the issue is like now how you was like most people get their news from X. We have all these social media sleuths that's trying to like figure out information. Like now, me like I'm in college, right? And what do you have to do at the end of every paper? You have to put your references and you have to put your sources. So it's just all kinds of information out there. I mean, even us to a degree where we're researching and talking about different news topics, I think have a better credibility than a housewife and her driver that's just, hanging out. So that's what
That's
Believe
I'm.
all
derogatory.
women,
Yeah.
Gray. Believe all women. Believe all women.
In some sense,
No,
some senses, I do. As we segue.
no.
Voger, what do you
No.
think about the clip I played? Do you think it's radiation?
Like I said, that's what I've been hearing. I wouldn't be surprised. Um, like I said, the person I watched, he said there's no reason for drones to fly at night unless you're looking for something. And it's
Or they're
something, like I
testing
said,
them.
again,
Facts.
it's something that fits on some invisible spectrum. So
Well, you
radiation,
guys aren't
yeah.
going to believe her. So let's watch a drone expert, and this can be one of the last clips we play. Maybe you'll believe him.
Here in Wichita, Kansas. I'm not normally a TikTok kind of a guy. I like watching this stuff every once in a while. But I'm a manufacturer of unmanned aircraft, military grade unmanned aircraft, as you can see one of my systems here. There's all of these mysterious drones going on off the East Coast, and as a professional, as a subject matter expert, I wanted to give you all my opinion on what I think could be going on with these drones. I don't particularly believe that these have a nefarious intent. I could be wrong, but I want to give you the truth and what I believe. It's my own opinion, and I've not bounced this off of anybody. So, if you think it's bullshit, whatever, that's cool. With Russia, there were countless nuclear missiles that were disarmed and disposed of. Well, there were over 80, I believe. There were over 80 nuclear warheads that were in Ukraine that came up missing. Okay? We don't know where they are. Maybe somebody does, but nobody really knows where these are. And I speak with some pretty high-level government officials on this stuff, and it seems as though that is the case. So I spoke to a gentleman a few months ago who was trying to raise an alarm to the highest levels of our government, which they had their ears closed, about this one particular nuclear warhead that he physically put his hands on. He physically touched this warhead that was left over from Ukraine. And he knew that thing was headed towards the United States. Nuclear or the radioactive material would be taken along the Interstate 70 corridor heading east or west or south. So, from what we understand, they were out there trying to find this radioactive material. Now, drones, they have no reason to be in the air at night unless you're doing some type of ISR work, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, looking for bad guys, or looking for a victim, trying to smell gas. We have methane gas detection systems that can detect gas leaks in pipelines. You really wouldn't use thermal optics for trying to find gas leaks, just simply because the only way you're actually going to find a gas leak with thermal optics is if the gas leak is aggressive enough that it has a difference in temperature, because thermal imaging it creates a digital image based off the temperature variance. So we have special sensors that can detect gas leaks. We also have special sensors that can detect radioactive material. So with this gentleman that I had spoken with, who was trying to raise the alarm to try to get somebody in the government to say, hey, we need to work together to go try to find this nuclear warhead, none of that ever happened. They knew that warhead was on its way to the United States. That's all that ever came of it. Nothing ever happened. This government did not do anything at all to help this gentleman raise the alarm and raise awareness that there is a very deadly weapon on its way to the United States. It's out there. Nobody knows where it's at now. It left Europe. Now it's gone.
Okay, guys. Vulgar, what do you think about the video? Oh, maybe he's not here. Oh,
That's the video. One of them that I
I was
watched.
gonna say something.
It's the most logical.
mm-hmm.
It really is the most logical. We're not them down. The government doesn't. They're not coming out to say anything. There hasn't been like a response. So it's, to me, that's, we know what's going on. They just don't want to say. They don't want us to panic. Maybe that
Absolutely.
could
Yeah,
be the thing.
exactly.
They
Can you
don't. They don't
imagine
want
the
the.
millions of
Yeah.
people? Yeah.
I wouldn't tell us either, honestly.
Yeah. So
I
until
mean,
they find out and get it under control, we're probably gonna be left in the dark.
Have you ever seen the Snowball Fears?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the greatest movie, but the premise is just like that. Basically, someone buys a rogue warhead on the loan to Israel, and they smuggle it to the United States.
Mm.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
what
And
I was gonna go ahead, my bad, Jay. Go ahead.
I was gonna say to you, I imagine they could be lying, but I do think the Soviet Union does, after they broke apart, they did account for all their warheads, but there was literally thousands of them. So
Mm.
the fact that they could all be accounted for is very believable. That they would all not be accounted for, because there's
You said which
alone
country?
after the Soviet Union broke up,
Yeah,
they literally left thousands of warheads in Ukraine. Um,
I remember that.
Ukraine had a larger, at one time, had a larger arsenal than the United States did of nuclear warheads after they broke up.
Not just that, they have nuclear plants that are
Yeah.
not being manned right now because of the war. Like, that's the biggest thing.
Well, yeah,
So
that's you. But I'm saying, as far as like the weaponized, allegedly give them all back in exchange for aid. But who's to say? And who's to say that they could tell the truth?
So what Jay just said something that made me question him, or question what he said. What about Syria being broke up? Do you think something can be an issue?
You think? Well,
Yeah,
I do.
but it's possible. I agree with you, Vulgar. They're
Yeah,
angry.
like everybody's in Syria like they were in Ukraine.
Well, it definitely wouldn't be a country because of mutually assured destruction. So it would be an organization if that were to happen.
No, I mean if somebody stole something
Oh yeah, absolutely.
level of a
And
nuclear
it could not
weapon
even
or
be
something like that.
necessarily a nuclear warhead. It could be what's called a dirty bomb, which is a conventional bomb
Yeah,
with radiation attachments.
yeah, the fallout,
And
Yeah,
I have a
which
clip
depleted
of
uranium.
British a British Minister. He's someone high up in Britain. I'm going to play that clip. It's a lot shorter, and it talks about dirty bombs. You segue in, and this will be our last clip of the night on the drones because I know Gray is sick of it.
you're always on it with the
will
videos.
use nuclear weapons if Russia is threatened. So is there actually a way of winning any war against Russia?
Well, if it goes nuclear, no one's winning, are they? But
you
of
think
course,
he would?
the super. Yes, I think he would. I've got defence analysts feeding me information, and they're in, services, and they're saying that there is going to be a nuclear detonation in Europe.
Who by?
Well, it could be a dirty bomb. I mean, there's a lot of nuclear material floating around in Ukraine from their nuclear reactors. I mean, to create contamination, all you need is some conventional explosives and some nuclear material, and you've got a dirty bomb. They may have already been set off in the Donbass area now.
And that could be the false flag that starts the war.
Yeah, there's many ways it can be done.
Like 9/11.
Like 9/11. And the other reasons for having general elections is that, Rishi's maintained that he's got inflation down to 2.3% and his plan's working. Well, if it was really working, he'd be waiting till the autumn to demonstrate it's working more. The fact is, he knows that food price inflation is going to rocket by the end of the summer. And that's going to be no relief on interest rates whatsoever. So this is as good as it gets for him on the economy. He's got to have an election by January next year, so there's no respite from the high interest rates. And the other thing is, of course, the disastrous and ineffective Rwanda bill for dealing with the illegal migrants. That was only ever for show. Anyone who'd been in Parliament for more than 5 minutes looking at the list, it wasn't robust enough, not leaving the European Convention of Human Rights or the Treaty Convention on Refugees. All it was going to be is a blank check for lawyers to make a lot of money. It's more.
So, Gray,
Who's he
I
talking
come
about?
back to you. Huh?
I'm sorry, who was he talking about?
He was talking about something with Britain. Something with Rwanda.
Was he
I don't
talking about?
know.
Was he talking about the British Prime Minister though? What he said he knows he has to win an election in January. Or...
Yeah, that's who he's talking about. So Gray, I go back to you. I mean, you don't believe any conspiracies. Even Jay's kind of believing stuff. I mean, what do you forget what the government is telling you, Gray? What do you think is going on? Use your military background, put your brain on, and not believe all of the government. What do you think?
Okay, so we have the Ukraine and Russian war where drones were the biggest, newest technology being used in war. I think that the most reasonable explanation is that they're doing some kind of training. I know the guy that made the Oculus that worked for Facebook. You can look up his name. I can't think of his name, but who made the Oculus? He was given certain government contracts because he was able to do like VR and stuff like that. And Mark Zuckerberg fired him for political stuff he did with Trump. So it's a big possibility that they're doing some type of military training. I mean, if you look at your iPhone, FaceTime, that was created by the military. The internet was created by the military. So the military has created some of the greatest technology that we have now. So I think it's a military training exercise.
Military contractors.
Yeah. Vulgar.
Like I said, I something's going on. You're looking for something. I'm gonna keep it to that. I don't get into the conspiracies either, or I don't like to speculate too much, to spread too much. But that's I'm logical, and the most logical explanation is they're not up there for nothing.
Jay.
It's weird. It's almost like, not that I want something bad to happen, but I almost want the looking for radiation thing to be true because it just sounds so much better than just like some sort of test or training. But to me, the training does make sense because it's a large urban area. I feel like drones haven't been tested in that mass capacity yet. As far as, like you said, they really haven't been tested massively in war. This is like having jet planes for the first time in World War II. They haven't been tested at that mass scale yet. And I don't think the government has any issue with testing over their own people, regardless of who's president.
Nora thinks it's ET.
No, I don't. I said I have 4 theories, and I talked about it on the TikTok live. The first was, I said this could be something biblical, something religious. I read the Bible. I said from my least to most. Second, I thought it could be extraterrestrial life. And then third, I said I have a feeling that it's China or Iran, and they have these drones coming in to spy on us because they're planning an October 7th attack. And
that's so specific.
Yeah. Very specific, yes. Like my mind is constantly going. And then
why
October 7th? When I heard Saturday, because I think it has to do with the border. If you guys know, a lot of people from China, places like that, they've come in through the border. They're not being, yes, they have. They have. And I
Have they?
do believe there are sleeper cells in this country that hate this country, that could be planning anything at any time. I do. And they're just waiting for the green light from whatever big billionaire terrorist around the world funds them to do something. I do. And the FBI does catch them all the time. So that's not conspiracy. Like, that is legit
Yeah,
factual, what I just said.
yeah. They
And they
catch right
catch
wing
them. I mean,
groups all
we
the
have
time too. Of white break.
but
They do.
anyways, one of those things, but the thing I'm leaning towards currently, December 17th, is I I think there's a dirty bomb, unfortunately. And I think people better be aware of what's going on. And I don't want to be right. I don't want to be right. This is the one time I don't want to be right.
Right? I know.
Remember, Greg,
That,
I predicted Joe Biden was dropping out. Was I not right? And you didn't believe me then.
Well, we
In the
all
words
saw
of your
that.
daughter, you thought that Kamala Harris was going to win too. You predicted that.
Unofficially,
oh,
because that's what the poll. That's why Trump is suing, because that's what the polls were saying.
what's he suing?
He's suing a pollster. He's
The
Yeah.
suing the
Iowa,
lady
the
that.
Iowa pollster that came out and said that.
Oh, that she was up by 3 points.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Dude, it's a poll. It's unofficial.
He
Like, what are
tried
you
to
gonna do?
sue everybody now that he won, but I know
I
she's
know.
about to talk about that. So
The guy
I'll
spends
go
so much
ahead.
time in court. You think he'd be sick of it by now? Like, for
You,
Well, we're
you
gonna
would think so.
we're gonna talk about that, but we're gonna shift gears here. Believe all women. This is the one time. Well, one of the times I think Vogler is going to be right. So, the Duke lacrosse accuser has now come out and said she was lying. And I think this is something she should have taken to her grave. I'm going to play this first clip and we'll
But
hear
why?
her recanting.
No, she
Well,
shouldn't. You
no,
rather
she should
sacrifice
have.
the lives of 3 men? Oh, you said. Oh, I thought you said you should have took it to the grave.
I think she should have, yes,
Oh
because now
no.
everybody's going to say,
I concur.
remember the Duke lacrosse.
So you're
Remember
willing
the
to
Duke
sacrifice
lacrosse.
innocent men
Let,
for
let me play the
this?
I'll
clip
say
and then
something after.
because
Go ahead.
yeah,
All
because I
right.
think Jay gets what I'm saying. Jay gets what I'm saying.
Wow.
Let's play the clip.
From a woman who accused Duke University lacrosse players of raping her nearly 20 years ago. The story was a national firestorm. She now says she lied about the encounter. Crystal Mangum first made the claims back in 2006, saying 3 members of the school's lacrosse team raped her after she had been hired to dance at a house party the team was throwing. Police charged David Evans, Colin Finnerty, and Reed Seligman after Mangum's accusations. But after much back and forth and the city's DA stepping down from the case, North Carolina's Attorney General later dismissed the charges, citing a lack of evidence. But now, going on the record on a podcast nearly 20
she's in
years
prison
later,
now.
Crystal Mangum says she was lying the whole time.
I testified falsely against them
Crystal
by
saying
saying
it
that
so.
they raped me when they didn't. And that was wrong. And I betrayed the trust of a lot of other people who believed in me. And made up a story that wasn't true because I wanted validation from people and not from God. And that was wrong when God already loved me for who I was. Regardless, I didn't need to seek validation from him because I already had validation from him. I just didn't know it. And I hurt my brothers. And I hope that they can forgive me. And I want them to know that I love them. And they didn't deserve that. And I hope they can forgive me. And that I hope that they can heal and trust God and know that God loves them and that God is loving them through me, letting them know that they're valuable and that they didn't deserve that.
Prior to Contrave, my eating habit.
Why? Why? She took that to the grave. Jay, go first. Say, maybe you can say it better why I say that.
One, because now it's going to invalidate a lot of women's claims. And no matter what you say, there is, like, exponentially more rapists walking free than there are innocent men in prison for grape. And I guarantee them are probably white males. It's the hardest crime to convict somebody of without evidence. Like, your word is virtually nothing. And secondly, I'm going to say, I don't want to do conspiracy theories, but the girl just got out of prison. She's broke, and that sounded coached. That sounded like, I honestly think that the families of them could have just paid, hey, you're not going to get your justice anyway. Just say it never happened.
For sure. Vulgar.
Sorry.
You're good.
I can't agree. The truth is the truth that we should lie. I think families and society need to do a better job of protecting women. But to say that she falsely says something, she needs to be held accountable just as much as if a man would have actually did it. So to say that she should have got away with it, I can sit here and say that men should start getting away with it. So we can't go down.
They never went to prison. Nothing ever happened to them.
No, I'm just saying their lives are ruined. I'm sure they couldn't get certain jobs. Before she came out, even though they got off, still a stigma. You don't get over that. Once you have that on you, even now with her admitting this, you got to think there's probably only so many people who've seen it. They live with that every day, and they didn't do anything besides abide by the laws. And some woman who wanted a high for validation lied. No, I don't agree with that. I hate saying this,
but Americans don't care about grape. Ben Roethlisberger, still people love him.
What do you mean they
Mike
don't
Tyson,
care about?
They don't care about it. Americans.
It's the number one thing that get you killed in prison. What are you talking about?
Of child grape, yeah.
Any of it.
But
a woman too.
In prison, but of some, they don't care about grape. They really don't. They really don't care about women at all. Ben Roethlisberger, nobody cared. Mike Tyson came out of prison, became America's sweetheart. Like, Americans just don't care.
Nah, innocent is innocent, man. We can't just start lying out here. And then people, she should have lied. She lied. She run 3 guys live. She could have got away with it, and she came out and told the truth. What we know is people lie, and they need to be held accountable when they lie.
If you punish women for lying, now they're gonna be like, "Oh my God, I don't have enough evidence. If I say this guy raped me and he really did, they're gonna put me in prison."
I'm saying no. Kind of fear. If you could prove fraud, then they get convicted of it.
How are you gonna prove fraud?
Do what? She came out and admitted to it, and then there were kits, and then the DA withheld the evidence that would have freed them in the first place. That's how they even got off.
They did. So
you had the DA on it too.
I have to agree with Vogel.
What do you mean they did get off?
Like the accusations from women have started. I don't know. This is a new epidemic, but using law enforcement as a weapon. Me myself, like my ex-wife, falsely accused me of domestic violence because they know it's a fear from police that they can use that. So I mean, if people are saying that, and I'm gonna ask you, do you feel like if a person falsely accuses someone that they should do jail time for falsely accusing that person?
Absolutely.
How much? The same amount the other person was gonna get, or how much should they get?
I mean, I'm going with Jay on this though. I feel like that was very coached. Like something felt off as I'm rewatching it. So I'm agreeing with him.
But I
used to do bait in college, and that sounded hella coached.
How much time should somebody do for falsely accusing somebody?
I think it's a law, right?
I don't know. 5 years.
It's not.
A lot of times it's civil. It's civil.
Unless you
or
falsify
contempt of court.
evidence. Yeah, unless you falsify evidence, then there's no crime. It's freedom of speech.
Yeah, so that's
it could be contempt if you under oath. It could be contempt.
It is generally illegal. It says to falsely accuse someone of a crime.
Yeah,
but basically it's libel. It's like civil at that point.
Yeah.
What they said, the statute of limitations on contempt was up. It was tears, so they could have got her, but it went beyond the 2 years.
I don't think most of our chatter, let's assume people don't know. I was only 15 at the time when this came out. I'm going to play a clip with Megyn Kelly breaking down. It's very short because Megyn Kelly was one of the main reporters at the time reporting on it.
To care, or it's just been a long time, was that on March, I don't remember the date, but in March of 2006, 3 Duke lacrosse players gang raped a woman of color, a black woman from Durham, North Carolina. That's where Duke is located. And Durham has a not well-off side of town, and it is a minority town. So these are 3 white boys at Duke on the lacrosse team and 1 black stripper who claimed she'd been gang raped by them.
Why she had to say it like that? Like
I mean,
a
just
black stripper.
in those allegations alone, you can see and feel how explosive it was and would have been. And it allegedly happened at a house in which the Duke lacrosse team was holding a party. So it wasn't just these 3, it was the team. And this hit the media like wildfire. They loved this story. Now with retrospect, we've got some, 19 years of dealing with this version of the news media under our belts. So you're not surprised to hear that given those dynamics, the racial differences, the class differences, the gender differences, that the media rushed to judgment against these boys. But at the time, believe it or not, we weren't like that yet in the media. We weren't used to the media doing this. It was still a time in which we tended to be more judicious in our coverage and careful. And this was the before and after moment at which we abandoned that. It really was. This was the seminal moment in the media leaning into what we now know as wokeness.
Is this the start of wokeness, Vulgar?
Yeah, it's been like that. But when you say believe all women, that's a form of wokeness. Oh, and y'all know old girl's still in jail, right?
Yeah, she's still
Yeah.
she's still in jail. But who knows? Maybe she was told, "We'll get you an attorney to get you out early." Who knows?
She's desperate. She would have did it for less, probably.
No, but she said that it was a spiritual thing. So to take that from her, I think is wrong too. She basically said that she's been trying to get right with God. She said that a lot in the interview, and for her, she probably felt the guilt of lying. And now that she got that, what they say, the truth shall set you free. Mm-hmm. That's probably what she was dealing with. She ruined these guys' lives. She's had time to reflect on herself. And if she had, in prison, you have like a what they call it, a chaplain or whatever. You have like the religion. They could have been talking to her and saying, "Hey, you need to get this off your chest." And she really felt that. So not everything is a conspiracy. She really could be dealing with some spiritual stuff and trying to get right. Yeah. And she had to get it off her chest.
I want to say to all the men out there, be careful. Make sure you have your evidence, especially when you're doing extra curricular stuff like this, because I don't know if it really went down, but like a lot of times women have a regret after they do something like that.
But it was a top.
And
go ahead, Jay.
And just tell her, like, she's recording it to be gross. Tell her, hey, it's just for both of our safety.
Yeah.
Well, for that could be illegal in some places
just tell her,
too. So
okay,
keep a witness on deck.
Yeah.
Well, it was
like, hey,
3 of them, and they still. I mean, I guess that's what saved.
It's not weird, My Ring camera is on, but hey, I'm going to delete it. I promise.
Yeah, for sure. Because
I get what you're saying.
It's literally husbands that's been accused of essaying their own wives. But when you get when you get into these situations where there's 2, 3 guys
stood for 15 years,
1 girl, then that's when it gets crazy. It was a story. It was a cop, and he would go over to his neighbors, and he would have threesomes with the husband, with the wife, and then she said it was non-consensual, but it was a camera, and he was able to show the evidence. Now, I'm not saying record anything, but at least have text messages or something that says consent.
Yep. Or yeah, you should be dealing with a person because you can get with somebody. Man, there's so many reasons why women lie. I know one of the common ones I'll see when they start to dig into a woman's allegations is her fiance or partner found out that she was messing around, and instead of admitting to it, she basically played a victim and said that she was great. Now the person who was involved is taking the fall just so she can keep her fiance. So for you to say take it to the grave, and like 99% of women who say this stuff is true, I just don't believe it. I think
Do you
it's
know
probably
the
like
percentage
cheating.
of women that come forward for when they are raped? It's a very low percentage.
So
That's
that's what I'm
why I
saying.
said
There's
that.
way more rapists on the street.
That's what we need
There's
to
way
be
more
focused.
rapists walking the street
That's what we need
than
to be
there are
focused on.
innocent men in jail.
No, we
Bottom line.
need to be focused
I agree
on
with Jay.
these women, telling them how to come forward, making things where they can come forward, get the kits and things like that. If they don't come forward, that's kind of on them.
You just took their control and you're saying we're going to tell you how to come forward.
It's not about control. It's about real life. If nobody's there to see it, you're gonna have to do. Even though you're gonna have to do what you have to do if this happens to you. If not, it's kind of on you.
And one of the things that y'all not saying also is that most of the time they know they're victims. That's another reason why they don't want to come forward, because most of the time it's not just a stranger. It's someone they know, or a family friend, or a coworker, or something like that. So it becomes even more awkward because like they're going to ruin a person's lives and everybody's going to know their business.
And I hate to say this too, especially, I don't know how it is maybe for all people of color, but like I know especially in Hispanic families, the family will know and literally will tell the girl, just the thing you don't talk about. It's like such a taboo thing.
Same with Caribbean families.
Yeah, it's such a taboo thing.
It's going to be a headache. You got to go through this. I agree with you, Jay. I agree.
It's almost like they value their own comfort.
Do not come forward. 1 in 5 women are the ones that report it, and 63% do not report it.
Well,
and what she did, if she lied, it was terrible what she did. I'm not taking from that, but this just hurts women. It sets us back because then it's going to be like, well, the lacrosse chick lied, so don't believe her. She lied.
You were going to say something over?
So, I mean, the real is there's a good amount of women who lie. There's a good amount of everybody who lies. So there has to be some type of...
The dudes coming out now on Diddy, do you think they're lying? The ones that are suing Diddy? Are they telling the truth? The men?
I don't. When I tell you, until the evidence out, they could be. But that's why I keep saying we got to let it play out. Yeah, they could be. I think a lot of it is a grift.
Okay, fair enough.
They should have came out when it happened. Because the thing,
you can't tell somebody how to be a victim.
Here's the truth: the longer you wait, the harder it's going to be to prove it. As embarrassing as it is, if it's that important to you, you're going to have to go get help.
And before you go to the next clip, Nora, if you think women don't report it, you think a man report when a man takes
1 in 12 men.
Manhood.
1 in 12.
Do you think a man reports when another man takes his manhood? I'm pretty sure it's
no, it's only 1 in 12.
Matter of fact, can I bring up something real quick before we go to the next subject? So I don't know if y'all know about the passport bros. Have y'all heard about that?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of passport bros right now that are getting, have you heard of scopolamine? They're like getting the women, they'll meet these on an app in Brazil, Colombia. They'll put this drug on their body, get intimate with the guy, and the guy falls asleep and they rob him.
Wow.
Is it bad? I don't feel bad for them.
This is going on in Florida too. I've heard, like down in like Miami too. So I mean,
is it bad? I don't feel bad at all.
Do what?
I don't either.
You said you don't feel bad?
Is it bad? Because like you're basically going there because I can't get a date in America, so I'm gonna go exploit some third world girl.
That makes you just as bad as the Klan or any other person that you have that type of hate.
It's not a hate. It's that
it is definitely a hate.
That I suck. So I'm going to a third world country to pick a girl that basically needs me. You know.
Well, we're human. Don't you preach equality? So taking advantage of somebody is taking advantage. So it's good as long as
they're taking advantage of the girls.
How you feel about it is right in this
I
point, but
agree
it's not
with
right at this
Jay
point.
because some of these men, they be fat and greasy and they be getting some really pretty young girls like 18, 19. They're 35 years old. And so I gotta
They're
agree with
legal.
Jay because you
They're
there you
They're
go.
35 on the
legal.
young end. Have you seen
A
90 Days?
two.
They're like 50,
Yeah,
60.
It don't
yeah,
matter.
I
They're
know.
legal. And if
I'm
the
agreeing
woman
with
likes them,
Jay.
what's
They
the
take
point?
advantage.
Okay,
No,
so Dre was talking about 90 Day Fiance. So
y'all got selective justice. That's wrong. It should be
so
equal
what
Select
I'm
across the
about
board.
good.
If we preaching equality, it should be equal. But you got
No, because
selective justice.
they're already taking advantage of them too. It's almost like getting drugged by like, I don't know,
So
like it's just they're already taking advantage of somebody too. So what taking advantage back? Like,
so it's okay to do it to the men.
no, it's not okay to do men. The men are already taking advantage of these women. You think these women?
That's what you said. You said you
think
don't feel bad. It's okay.
I don't, because do you think a hot 18-year-old is gonna like a random 35-year-old white American if he's not gonna provide her with something? No, she's already being taken advantage of.
Yeah, wow. Y'all wonder why this stuff keep happening. It got to be equal across the board. Accountability got to be equal across the board. It's okay if it happens to a man, but not a woman.
Hey, it's the same thing about why I was tripping about last week not last week, 2 weeks ago when I was playing you what Myron said, and you said it was fine. So it's fine.
What did I say was
Like
fine about Myron?
we'll replay that later. But
Okay.
we're gonna move on because this kind of plays into it. You guys touched on this with believing people. Daniel Baldwin was on PPD last week and he talked about the Diddy tapes. I'm gonna play to you what he said because it kind of has to do with filming and all of that.
For instance, let's take a look at him. Let's take a look at, he has videos. He has videos of the parties. Now, what I've heard, which I don't know how much of it is in mainstream media, I don't really follow the story that much, but what I've heard from friends that are attorneys, friends of mine that have represented me before, agents and so on, is there's a bidding war going on right now. They're driving that price up because if you want your client and your famous actor to not be involved, or famous singer to not come out, here's the price. And that they're just selling to the individuals that are in those. This is what I heard. They're selling those videos. So if you're Tommy X, and Tommy X is a big, big movie star, and he was at some of the Diddy parties, he was in one of those bedrooms with 3 other men, and he's happily married to a woman, and blah. Tommy doesn't want that video to come out. He does not want it to come out. Same thing for Jeffrey Epstein. Now, the interesting thing about the Epstein and the theory about Epstein is we know he filmed people for sure on that island. He has a lot of movies, a lot of films of people that are very, very powerful political figures, and entertainers, business people. So, do you really believe that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself? Of course not. Of course not. Yeah. No. Okay, so there's other theories that he's in Lebanon. He never died at all. That having the weight of owning those films right now over people. So will Donald Trump release those films? I believe Donald Trump probably has a lot of friends that are in those videos too. I don't know if it behooves him to release them either. But what happens if iconic African Americans or iconic Japanese Americans or iconic Anglo Americans, former presidents, so what happens if they're in those videos? What does that do to the herding of the sheep? Because I believe that's exactly what we're experiencing.
Olger, what's your thoughts on the videos? Should we believe all the men on it? Should we wait till they come out? Who do you think, any sports players that we may know of might be on those tapes? What's your thoughts? I know you don't believe in conspiracy theory, so I guess don't speculate too hard.
Yeah, the hardest thing about those tapes. Yeah, the hardest thing about those tapes are going to, I guess, to see what type of state they were in when they were recording. As far as, I don't know if the men were being taken advantage of. I'm not sure which way that was going, but that's probably going to be a big part of it, is what state were they in on those tapes. Like
condition, man, like drunk and stuff, you're saying?
Yeah, or drugged or whatever. The 3 men that came out, I put them in the same category. Until there's evidence, it's a grift to me. It's just when, it's like once the the bear is down, everybody, comes in and take advantage. It's like everybody fears it's like Suge Knight. When he was big, nobody messed with him. And then as soon as he, got whooped on, now everybody came and tried him. So I just kind of feel like that's what's going on with Diddy. Like now that he's not at the top, everybody's just coming. He's blood in the water right now.
Kelly said Lil Rob was a boyfriend.
Leave Lil Rob alone.
Jay, what do you think of what he said?
Well, one, I think that if you're gonna accuse them, there has to be some truth to it, because I don't think any lawyer is gonna go at somebody like as rich and powerful as Diddy unless they think that they can prove something at least, because he can countersue you easily. So you got to be realistic too. You got to zoom out a little bit. You got a powerful person, you couldn't have all your ducks in a row. So I don't think they would be suing if they didn't think, hey, this is enough, or hey, we can do this. And two, yeah, we're never gonna see those tapes. Like even Trump, he's like, like when he was being interviewed, are you gonna receive? Would you release the Kennedy info? Oh yeah, of course. Would you release the Epstein tapes? He was like, ugh, I don't. He hesitated. You can find that video right now. It'd be fun. So yeah, we're never gonna see those tapes, but I do think, and I hate to just blanket this, but I just think when you're really rich, it's almost universal that you're almost gonna be a POS. Like you're gonna be into weird things. Like there's that movie Hostel. The basis is that rich people are so bored they resorted to killing people for fun. Like when you're so powerful, you can do anything. You have to keep upping that ante to like feel something. When nothing is out of your reach, when nothing is impossible, you have to keep. So the fact that Diddy would have weird like Greek orgies and that not everything was sensual, I completely 100% believe that. But do I also believe that they need to show proof and evidence? Absolutely.
Man, I think being rich gives you the opportunity. I think you are who you are before the money.
Oh yeah, but
Diddy was just a creep before this, and he basically was funded to be worse. I don't think that's everybody that's rich.
I think that it just gives you more ability. We was talking about the guys in DR. I mean, if they paying for tricks, and if you got money, you can pay. Hey, I want you to do this. Or you got the ability. Now you got the power. That's basically just the way that I see it. And as far as like the sex tapes coming out, Kim K blew up off of that. Pamela Anderson blew up off of that. So whatever celebrity
those were consensual.
Maybe you'll blow. Maybe your career will take off. So yeah, but if it was consensual, I think adults should be able to have fun.
And one thing too, I don't think we should be blanketing Diddy party. I'm sure Diddy had normal parties. Like I'm sure like everyone that was at
he would announce it.
Stigmatized,
No, he would have a regular party, and then he'd be like, "Hey, if y'all ain't trying to, do whatever, take the kids." He would tell you.
Like start taking the keys and the cameras.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's why I don't think everybody that shit was at Diddy party should be demonized. I don't think everybody was like, "Hey, give me that 14-year-old." I'm sure it was a very small, eclectic, close knit, group.
Yeah, we got your boy that won't come explain what he meant by ain't no party like a Diddy party.
Who that, right?
Huh, LeBron.
Oh yeah, LeBron. Yeah. LeBron took a month off.
People are still wondering what he meant.
LeBron's like.
Well, the next clip I have is from his bodyguard. He says, of course there's tapes. Of course they got tapes.
I don't think it's only celebrities going to be shook. He had politicians in there. He had princes in there. He also had a couple of preachers in there.
You personally, you think they got tapes?
Well, my personal opinion that if Lil Rob could be trusted and his statements are true, they got him. They got tapes of stuff.
Now, if Diddy had tapes, the Fed.
So Does Diddy have, I mean, the security guard is saying that there are tapes. I know there's tapes, and I do believe they're shopping them around because that's what Jaguar Wright said. And y'all like to talk down on her, not necessarily you guys on this call, but people like to talk down on her, and she's been right. Again, a conspiracy theory that has been proven true.
Gene Deal, that's his name. But he said a lot of stuff. Vlad TV said some of the stuff he said can't be trusted, but he was a probation officer. So they tried to say that he wasn't around for a lot of the illegal activity because they not go do the dirt that they go do with the thugs, with the real cops. But you need real cops for security. What you think, Volger?
I mean, at this point, it's like anything is possible, and I know there's a lot. I feel there's a lot of people on those tapes.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's Hollywood, and yeah, this kind of stuff goes down. Like I said, never been around none of that, but I was in California for a while. And I can tell you the industry is weird out there. I'll tell you that much. Hollywood, when they say Hollywood, yeah, it's a lot of sexual stuff that goes with it.
Jay?
Well,
yeah, like I said, I just think I don't think we're ever gonna see those. Those are never coming out. Money literally does buy you power. And if you have enough money, you have the power to buy anything. I mean, I know you guys don't like this, but look at Elon Musk. He just bought the president. Like, you can buy anything.
It'd probably be something.
And I feel like when powerful people are involved, do you guys remember? I'm not even trying to bipartisan here, but do you guys remember when there was rumors that Putin had videos of Trump? I don't know what word I can use. Relieving himself on teenage girls.
Yeah.
I just feel like if things like that do exist, and we'll just never see them. There's just people that are just too rich and too powerful. And yeah, there's tons of millionaires and there's a lot of billionaires, but the people that are actually rich is such a small group, and they're all friends. I don't care what level you put out, they're all friends in some way.
Well, wealthy, because there's a difference between rich and wealthy. But
that's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about your dad that worked as or he bought a sports car. I'm talking about like the people that like are bored and go to Mars. Those rich people.
Right. I don't know if y'all remember.
That group is so eclectic and so close.
The rich people go after each other too. I don't know if y'all remember in Godfather when they sent the girl to the guy and then they unalived the girl to try to control the guy. So they probably send people like to set celebrities up and get it on camera.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they invite them out. Come, like I'm sure, like he said, there's princes on there. I would be surprised if Saudi princes, like people like remember like Beyonce and Jay-Z got to be Illuminati. No, those people perform for the real rich people. I'm sure Saudi princes invite celebrities out and show them a great time and then get it all on tape and be like, hey, now I kind of own you now, because they have that much money to do that.
Nora?
I don't think somebody's telling me Jaguar Wright's a liar. I still don't think she's a liar. Almost a lot of things that she has said.
In all caps.
Yeah, almost
in all caps,
a lot of things that she has said has come out to be true, unfortunately. She had her beef with Jay-Z and stuff is coming out against him. I don't know. To each his own. I still like Jaguar Wright. I think she's a truth teller. She kicked the door open for the Diddy people to come out. So shout out to her.
It's like Allen Iverson. You fire enough shots, you're going to hit some,
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Though, had she not have spoken out, I don't think people would have had the courage to start speaking out against Diddy, and he would have still been a monster to this day. I think that's just me. But moving on.
Nothing stops them unless they get stopped.
I'm sorry.
It was a company he tried to go after.
It was who?
It was a company he tried to go after.
You think it's due to the company? Maybe.
Yeah. Wait, what's the company?
BlackRock.
The liquor company.
Look up BlackRock. They're one of the largest.
Yeah, they own tons of stocks.
Yeah. I think that's what did it. once he pissed them off and tried to sue him, for all the alcohol, all that, that's what started it.
Well,
Yeah.
that's funny that you mentioned that. She used to always go on his show, so she made him lots of money because she got him lots of views. So now he's turned on her. I'll look it up, but she used to go on his show all the time. So I'm sure there's more to it. He's probably mad that she started working with what's that hood YouTube page she works with? Real Life.
Real life street stars.
Mm-hmm. But okay. So last clip of the night, we're gonna talk about Stephen A. Smith. Is he gone woke?
A bombshell report from the Justice Department that revealed the FBI had at least 26 confidential informants on the ground when the Capitol was stormed on January 6, 2021. The report says most of the informants engaged in illegal activity during the chaos. The Justice Department says only 3 of its 26 informants present had been instructed to observe potential domestic terrorist suspects on the day of the riot. The rest of the 23 appeared to have gone to the Capitol on their own accord. Upon hearing news of the report, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance posted the following on X, quote, "For those keeping score at home, this was labeled a dangerous conspiracy theory months ago," end quote. Didn't hear anything about that for the election. Didn't hear anything about that when the quote-unquote insurrection was broached by Vice President Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee. The belief that Donald Trump was a danger to democracy and using this as a profound, illuminating bullet point to make that case. And now here we are yet again finding even more evidence to Donald Trump's claims when he articulated that process is rigged. My big issue is that I'm really sick and tired of every time I turn around finding something else that the Democrats have lied about or downplayed or misrepresented along the way. I mean, I see Republicans like Megyn Kelly or Officer Tatum or Candace Owens or, the Sean Hannitys of the world. You know what I'm getting tired of? To the Democratic Party. You know what I'm getting really pissed off about? I'm getting really ticked off at every time they open their mouth about something pertaining to y'all, they seem right.
Gray, where you at?
To
You
make
hiding?
the case that
He
the
calling
right
out your people.
had a monopoly on insidious, evil tendencies, corrupt tendencies, duplicitous, hypocritical, untruthful tendencies. And every time they made those accusations, we turn around and find out that at least some of them are guilty of the same shit. I don't know about y'all, but I'm sick of all of it. I'm sick of all of it. They've actually made Donald Trump look like he was right instead of them.
Drops bombs. Vulgar, where's the sounds? Where's the sounds? We need to drop the bombs. We need to drop the bombs. So he made a new video today. I didn't get a chance to look at it. Vulgar, did you see it? He said, "Am I a Republican?" Does he say if he's a Republican now?
You know what? I didn't get to watch it, but I've been waiting on him to just come out and admit to it. Like I said, I think the thing is, in this election, the Democrats were desperate, caught off guard. They didn't have any type of morals, boundaries. They were just doing what they thought that to do. It was all about winning, and it was winning by any means necessary. That's why we're starting to see all this stuff come out with the campaign funds and everything else. It's because it was desperation, and it was a hatred towards Trump instead of America.
I think Trump got lucky when Joe Biden came out on the debate stage. I think Trump was going to lose to Joe Biden looked horrific. And that was when everything changed. And when he got a shot at, that's when like the mood changed in the country. But I just think what a lot of people don't say is like Kamala Harris was just really not a likable candidate. And she did way better than she probably would have ever done. She probably would have won a primary. So, I mean, I think Trump got lucky. It was a small popular vote. As far as Stephen A. Smith, to all the sports fans out there, we all know the joke and clown this guy is. I mean, he's funny. I mean, he gets emotional and all that stuff. But I don't know. Everybody deserves to be mad at a Democratic Party that voted Democrat. Everybody deserves to be mad. Jay?
Wow.
I just it's just funny when I just think the word "same" is not really applicable here.
Desperate.
No, it's not desperate.
Deals were desperate.
That's another thing too. Like I think I don't know why Democrats reacted such a form of desperation. Like, guys, the situation's not that bad. Like, Trump didn't even get 50%. Like,
The
half
only
of
reason y'all
America,
even
over
had
half
a
of America
running
said
is
no.
because people hate Trump. Other than that, I had no standing. That's how y'all got 1.5 billion. It was donations against Trump, not for
Oh
Harris.
yeah, absolutely.
What else do you say? It was desperation.
I'll openly say I think most Democrats vote Democrat just because they're so scared of a Republican being president. It's nothing to do with like them.
You know,
I think that's why Democrats are so less cultish because they're
who
not
cares how
like
much they
worshiping
won
Kennedy.
by? Y'all are missing the entire point of what he said. He just said the reason why he's leaning towards the Republican is because another lie has come out. They lied about the polls. They lied about the 50s. Not how much was the felon count? 90 something. And now they lied about January 6th. They said that they didn't have undercover informants. Like, what gives? Like, that's
That's what I
the
was
big
getting
thing
to.
here.
When you say the word "same," you can't compare. I don't think you can compare the lies of each one.
And how can you
Okay.
literally say lie about undercover informants? That's an oxymoron. They're undercover.
Or not undercover informants, undercover agents. They had undercover feds there.
Yes,
And
but
there are videos of people doing stuff. I don't know if they were feds or regular people, but it was like awkward what happened. Like, listen,
There's no
I'm not
evidence of
saying
them
that all
antagonizing the situation, though.
Okay.
you can't say that you're have an undercover agent, then you breaking the person's cover until they're saying, okay, we're gonna release the information. This person was undercover and they're gonna testify.
And also, I just want to point out one thing. Trump was president during this time. He was the FBI answered to him, not Joe Biden. Like, people forget that. They say, "Oh, the election." So how was the election? How was all this happening when Trump was? How was the election rigged when Trump was in power, but they can't rig it when he's not in power? That's what I'm like. You guys gotta remember,
Well,
January
let
6th,
me
Trump
say
was
this,
still the man.
and you're going to be shocked with what I'm going to say as somebody that considers themselves MAGA. I truly believe Joe Biden won, me personally, because I personally voted for Joe Biden and I know a lot of people that were fed up with Trump. So I don't personally, but I can understand after hearing about all these things, like the Russia collusion, all this stuff that MAGA saw, I can understand why they thought Trump won and why they didn't trust it. Also, there were so many things going on with the machines. Vulgar, you're probably better versed to speak on this. What do you think about Trump? Like, do you think I know the answer, but what was the reason for MAGA not believing the election at the time?
Like you said, it's more of the election stuff. They were saying like there were dead people voting, votes being counted.
No evidence
That's
of
like
that.
Texas. I know that. Huh?
There's no evidence of
Texas
people
did
voting.
have an issue of that, like as far as getting the election laws and stuff right. As far as the voter ID, you had the Dems that are against requiring ID to vote, things like that. And that's what a lot of the MAGA people were mad about, saying that you had votes counted that shouldn't have been counted. And they're like, where are the, what was it, 5 to 10 million votes? Biden had 80 million votes or 80 something million.
81.
81. They're like, where are the other 6
There's only 6
million
million,
people?
6 million Democrats not turning out for this. Either because they
Yeah,
didn't think
so
Trump
that's
was
the
going to
other thing.
win, or they just
So that's
weren't
kind of
motivated by
yeah.
Kamala. I can totally see 6
So
million Democrats staying home easily.
yeah, and would it been pandemic and stuff, but still that's another thing is like, okay, we had the pandemic and with the mail-in, that was the other issue. The mail-in ballots. So
So
yeah,
I live in like one of the bluest states. My mail-in ballot got sent back twice. They're so strict about it. So I don't know what that anything has to do with anything. Signature didn't match my ID. So the third time, I literally traced my ID signature.
I saw people that posted videos and they said that their ballots got lost. I don't know how true that is. Again, this is from social media. People were
I saw
posting
a lot of
videos
that
that
too.
said
I saw a lot of
yeah.
TikToks,
So
people
I'm
saying their
not.
ballot got lost
Yeah.
from both.
Isn't it amazing? All of a sudden, in 2024, there's no election interference. The ballots were just perfect.
Right?
There were just no issues in 2024. That's crazy to me. They were perfect. No voter
I don't know. My
fraud at
mom
all.
has a theory about old Elon and these ballots, and you guys have probably heard them. You're on the left. You're the Democrat, and you're on the left, so maybe you heard them.
yeah. I
But
mean,
I
the
don't want to talk
president and the
about it
vice
on here.
president's kind of disappeared lately, so maybe that's why.
I mean, if that comes out, I wouldn't
They're
be
chilling.
shocked.
What do they got? What do they got to do?
I mean, they still got a month left. They just gonna quit early, take a black break.
Biden went hard last week. He was
Oh,
appointing
that
judges.
didn't sound right.
He was right.
Huh.
Biden went hard last month.
You know we break forever.
He's been appointing judges. He was so close to breaking Trump's record for appointing federal judges. He's ramming those things through.
Well, speaking of judges and records, what about Joe Biden's pardons? It's been 2,000 plus. What do you have to say about that? Trump only pardoned 250 something people. Joe Biden's 2,000 and counting.
My only qualm with it is he didn't pardon every single person in prison for marijuana. There should be thousands more. Every person in prison for marijuana should have been pardoned.
I have to say I agree with you for once.
Oh yeah.
We never agree, but I agree. I have to
That's
say
my
I
only
agree
issue with it. He should have pardoned way more people.
It's
The
not
president that
violent.
does
Why are
that.
the numbers so high? Are they're marijuana people? Is that what it is? Is that why it's so high?
He's pardoning. He's basically he's pardoning anyone he thinks Trump's going to try to go after. That's why. That's what the lengthy pardons. Like he's pardoning you for the basically Trump's term, and then if JD Vance wins, that's why it's 10 years. He's pardoning them for the next 2 terms. It was like his gift to protect people from Trump.
Can you even
Doesn't
do
that
that?
sound like something they would accuse Trump to do though? Like, does that even sound legal? Like,
That's all that's been happening. Everything the Dems have accused Trump of, they're doing right now.
But Trump is petty enough to go after people. I don't see Joe Biden doing that.
Trump won't have time to go after people. He didn't do it in the last election.
The guy broke a record for days golfing, dude. Like, come on, Trump don't care. The first thing Trump is gonna do, he's gonna give the biggest tax cut in history to his rich friends, and then he's gonna say, "Well, I tried to pass this, Democrats said no. I tried to pass this, Democrats said no." That's gonna be his presidency.
No,
I tried to deport a bunch of people, but it's in courts. Blame the radical left. Blame the radical left, guys. I tried. And that's gonna be it, because that was the last presidency. He passed the tax cuts for rich friends as soon as he got in there, and then everything else was. He said he was gonna repeal and place Obamacare in 2 weeks for 4 years.
Why do you
straight.
say for rich? He passed tax cuts for everybody.
No, but ours
And
were temporary.
the lower and middle
Ours
class
go up-
benefited
ours
the
go-
most.
ours go up
Why do
every
y'all
year.
keep saying that? Do what?
Because ours were temporary. The tax cuts for corporations were permanent.
Well, he's supposed to renew them.
Why can't you just make them permanent and then have the corporations tax cuts go up?
I don't know. We haven't researched it to tell you that reason. I don't even know if the corporations are permanent. I don't know that either.
They are permanent.
I just know you're saying it. So
They are permanent.
For sure.
well, we're going to wrap up now. I want to just let everybody know on the call about our schedule for tomorrow. Tomorrow night, we will be talking about an update from Syria. We have our special guest, Mr. Nick, coming. If you guys remember, it was pretty saucy before, Jay. I hope you come. And we're going to be talking about his position as he is an Israeli American. He's going to be defending and speaking about why what's going on in Syria is okay. Also, we will be talking about the Black Israelites by King. Thanks for watching. Tomorrow we do have lunch with the new party at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on TikTok. Boger, what's your closing words?
I'm glad that everything, the deflections that Dems are putting on us, is now coming to light. And I hope we figure out what's going on with these drones. I hope
Me
it's the
too.
best. America is watching out for our best interests and protecting us. I hope that's what it is, and not, something else.
Jay, what's your
Jay.
closing
I
thoughts?
hope to God nowhere's wrong, and it's not a dirty bomb or anything like that. I hope it is some kind of just military test or exercise, just for everybody's sake. Because at the end of the day, we're all together and we're all in this together, and we don't want to see anything devastating happen. And this is completely off topic, but Vulgar, will you please audition for voice acting or something?
Why you say that?
Because or if I'm ever single again, will you please be my wingman? Because I feel like you just say anything. I'm like, yeah, no problem.
Hey, thanks for the compliment. I'll see what I
No
can
problem,
do.
man. You got like that. You got like that. You got like that voice.
Hey, come over here and talk to my boy real quick.
Yeah, see, there you go.
All
Bam.
right.
I'm done. She
All
didn't
right.
get to see
I
me.
see.
She's like, yeah, for sure.
Great. What's your closing thoughts?
I mean, I hope it's aliens. I hope we go into Star Wars. I don't know.
Man, you're not ready for
Guys,
that
guys, thank you for
That's what all the Dems
coming.
are saying.
I'm want to see what Trump is going to do and see what the Republicans in the new party are going to have to say. So I'm waiting for that. And January 20th is my birthday, so it's going to be an interesting day. So yeah,
it's your
I
birthday?
appreciate everybody. And yeah, go ahead, Nora.
Oh no, I just want to thank everyone and have happy holidays. Please be safe. Remember, Jesus is the reason for the season, and God bless.
Always vote.
Always
Always
vote.
vote.